Hello friends, my name is Neha. You're watching this video on the Pratyancha channel, and today we bring another addition to the Metaphysical playlist. It is another piece by the marvelous Donne, and it is a piece on love. This piece is called Canonization. Love is Donne's most favorite topic, most favorite theme that he constantly wants to speak about. And you would have noticed in the earlier pieces that he really wishes to speak about the intensity of love, the purity of love, the beauty of love, and the fact that if you haven't loved, what the hell have you done in your life? So, this is how his poetry makes you feel about love. And this poem, a lot of you have requested that I really discuss this piece at the Pratyancha channel, and here we are to be talking about the canonization. Now, to begin with, I'd first give you a little bit of a brief or summary as to what the poem is addressing. The meaning of the word canonization is that when someone is dead, you take them to the level of a saint. So you say that they have become saints and they were so important in their lives. Or maybe important is not the right word to use. They have done things of importance, things which are so difficult to achieve by mere mortals that these people have succeeded in achieving, have succeeded in doing, and therefore they're canonized as saints. So this is a poem about the canonization. So the first thing that it tells you is that maybe like the holy sonnets, he's speaking of something which is religious. Maybe he's speaking of something which has to do with the gods, with church. So, and also he has really written about these religious topics. But for me, this is one poem in John Donne's oeuvre which brings both his themes together. He loves to talk about religion and about God, but he also loves to talk about love. And he really cannot refrain from talking about love, even if it's a religious poem. And to begin with, this is not a religious poem. It is really a poem devoted to love. So what he's saying here is that two people who are in love should not be disturbed, should not be judged, and he almost chides the world, he almost shouts at the world, don't you have anything better to do? Don't you have a life? Go get a life and leave us alone, because we need to love. We are doing a very important thing and we're not harming anyone. So how dare you disturb us? How dare you make this a point that you want to say things to us, or you want to sound things about us which are not really to be made public? So just leave us alone and leave us there to love. So it does have the tone of the sun rising at places when he's telling the sun that go mind your own business and leave us lovers alone. It also has notions of standing up to authority, that it is not grandeur, it is not riches, or it is not the king's service that can bring you happiness, but it really is love. But these are meanings that you can take in a broader sense of the poem, but let's just discuss what the poem really sets out to say. I'll go stanza by stanza, and we shall see that how with each stanza he addresses a very pertinent theme to the larger theme, which is the canonization of lovers who, when dead, are not less than saints. Because they have loved, because they've loved intensely, they are saints. They have to be at the level of the saints. So let's begin reading the poem. For God's sake, hold your tongue and let me love. For God's sake, hold your tongue and let me love, or chide my palsy or my gout, my 5 grey hairs or ruined fortune flout. In the first 3 lines, the poet here is actually addressing someone who's not casting a very benevolent eye upon lovers, who's not being very favorable to the lovers. So he's telling this person, and you can imagine it's Donne saying it, or you can imagine the protagonist of the poem saying it to someone who's not who does not have a very nice sort of attitude towards the lovers, who does not really permit that lovers should get to do what they want. So here, Donne uses the pronoun I, or it's implied in the poem when he addresses the person who does not cast a very nice eye, a favorable eye upon lovers. So he's telling this person, for God's sake, just hold your tongue. Hold your tongue, don't speak too much. Please don't speak against us and just let me love. Don't take this opportunity away from me. Don't tell me I'm doing something wrong. Don't try to constantly say that, why am I doing this? So just hold your tongue. And then he says that if you really wish to criticize me, I'll give you various things that you can actually criticize about me. You can criticize the fact that I suffer from palsy, which is a disease of the mind. And you can say that I suffer from gout, another disease of the digestive system. Or you can say that I have 5 gray hairs. Or that I have ruined my fortune. I wasted the money that I'd inherited or that I'd earned. These are the things that you can speak about. And you can really chide me about these things, you can scold me about these things, you can criticize me about all these factors, but just let me love. So don't pick on this one aspect that I have, pick on the other aspects that actually maybe are worthy of criticism. So he's first suggesting what you can criticize about me. And he says, leave me alone, just let me love. And then he says, with wealth your state, your mind, with arts improve. Now here, look at the grammar that Donne uses. This is the most important part of the way he writes poetry. He twists and turns grammar and really uses it as clay to be able to convey what he wants, with the emphasis on sound, with the emphasis on the structuring of the words. With wealth your state, your mind with arts improve. If I were to really open this up, it would be that please go and improve your state of affairs with some money, and go improve your mind, your way of thinking with the arts. So this is what he's saying here, that if you really are a kind of person who holds it against me that I'm a lover and who's disturbing by his wagging tongue constantly me and my lover, then I would suggest that go earn some money, get a life, improve your state of affairs, and you can also indulge in the arts, because then you will have a thought process that's more conducive to love. You will have a thought process which would have improved from the state it is in right now. So with the association with the arts, with poetry, with painting, with whatever arts Donne may have in his mind, he's telling the other guy that you please go and you learn about the arts, and with the arts you please improve your mind, because I don't think you're of a sound mind, because you're against lovers. That's not done. Take you a course, get you a place, observe his honor or his grace, or the king's real or stamped face. So he's saying you can go attend a course. Like we tell people, why are you wasting your time? Maybe you should enroll yourself in a course. That's what Donne is telling this guy. Go take a course and get you a place. Get yourself a position, a designation. Do something of value so that you're able to respect yourself, so that you're busy, so that your mind improves. And therefore, 1, you will not have the time to chide me. 2, you will really improve your state of mind and therefore not bother me and my lover. And then he's saying, or you can do one thing. You can go, you can honor the king or his grace, and you can actually busy yourself by figuring out if the king is putting on a mask, a face upon his real face, or you can also engage with the mask that he wants to put on, the image, the impression that he wishes to convey to the people, which is not really the reality of the king. So you can associate yourself with so many things. Here, there is one point that is also implied. He doesn't say it directly, but in every situation, in every political scenario, whether it's aristocracy, it's democracy, you see that there is the ruling class, and then there is a set of people who are sycophants, who are basically toadies, who like to follow the ones in power, lackeys, and or Hindi we say chamchas. So he's saying these are the kind of people who really are against the lovers, but they're busy, they really do their work of following the king or the person in authority. So he's suggesting to the other person that either you find ways to criticize me in other facets other than the fact that I'm loving, or you go and you get yourself a course, earn some money, you improve your mind, or you can follow the king, you can become a sycophant, you can become a lackey or a toady. And then he's saying that you need to contemplate and think what you will approve, what you will not approve. So busy yourself with judgments of other people. Busy yourself with the ways in which your mind is occupied, and therefore you will leave us alone. So you will let me love. And he ends by this line, the first stanza, so you will let me love. So these are 3 things that the first stanza suggests, that you please leave us alone, let us love. You have other points to criticize about me, focus on them, or get yourself a life, busy yourself, raise your level of perceptions and your level of intellect, or you go and you get into the service of the king, or find other people that you need to judge, that you need to really speak about, or that you really need to see what they're doing wrong in their lives. But you let me love. Let's look at the next stanza now. Alas, alas, who's injured by my love? What merchant's ships have my sighs drowned? Who says my tears have overflowed his ground? And now he's saying that if two lovers love, it doesn't bring any calamity to the world. It doesn't harm the world in any way. So he's saying, who's injured by my love? If I'm in love, I'm not injuring anyone. I'm not bringing harm upon anyone. It is not like there are ships on which merchandise is loaded, some trade ships. It's not like my love is drowning those ships and causing some harm to business and to businessmen. That is not happening. My love, poor thing, is not doing a thing to harm anyone. It's really the most beautiful thing in the world. So why do you hold that against me? Who says my tears have overflowed his ground? And yes, sometimes in the memory of my beloved, or because there are ups and downs in a love relationship, there are times when I cry. But is it that my tears have drowned something or someone? No. Whatever I do in my love, whether I'm happy, whether I'm unhappy, whether I'm crying, or I'm doing things to make my beloved happy, none of those things have caused any harm. My tears have not overflowed any ground. When did my colds a forward spring remove? Yes, there are times when I suffer from a cold, but also the cold here could imply at times a phase in the love relationship when things are not as heated as you would want them to be, when things are not as passionate as you would want them to be, or maybe it's a low phase in the relationship, but he's saying, that's between me and my lover. We'll deal with it. It's not like if we do not feel that heat inside of us, that passion inside of us, then it's not like we're affecting the beauty of the spring or the madness that spring brings about, the colors, the happiness, the wind, and the fragrances with the wind. None of the things that spring brings about are brought down by the fact that me and my lover are having probably a low phase in our life. And of course, the colds could mean that he's not feeling too well as well. It's not really clear, but I think the larger implication is that a phase in the love relationship when things are not going very smooth, he's saying none of these affect the spring. So basically, injury and spring and merchandise ships, these are all metaphors of the fact that he's saying that I'm not causing harm to anyone or anything. The world, if at all, is benefited by my love. It has nothing to lose from the fact that I love someone and she loves me back. This could be a female protagonist as well, so that I love him and he loves me back. So please don't hold this against me. And then he continues this theme in saying, when did the heats which my veins fill add one more to the plaguey bill? And now he's saying that there are times when there is a lot of heat, a lot of passion inside of you for your lover and for the love relationship. And it has never happened that because of this heat, someone has been diagnosed with fever, or that I have given a sort of a disease to someone else, like the plague spreads. So he uses these huge words. That is my love, is the intensity, the heat that I feel for my lover causing a plague around here? No, I'm causing no harm to the world. Please leave me alone and let me love. And then he's saying, soldiers find wars and lawyers find out still litigious men, which quarrel move, though she and I do love. There are many kinds of war in the world. One, the kind of wars that soldiers fight on the war front. Then, the kind of wars people find in court. Litigation is when you file a court case against someone. So lawyers will have these clients and they'll be fighting against each other. And these are people which quarrels move. So they're always moved by quarrels. They always want to fight with the other party. It could be a country against another country. It could be a person who's filing a court case against another person. But you must understand, these are the kind of people who actually are moved by the spirit to fight. But she and I, we just love. We are moved by the spirit to love. And he's saying, though she and I do love, we are not fighting and we are not getting into any sort of litigation with each other. These are again metaphors, but this is to say that all we are bringing about is this positive energy thing called love. We don't bring about any harm or any fight to the world. So that's the theme of the second stanza. So just to give you a little bit of reminder, the first stanza basically focused on the fact that if I'm a lover, then you don't need to criticize that fact. You need to get a life, you need to improve your mental state of affairs, the way you think, and also you need to really get yourself in some kind of job, in some kind of course, something that you love, so that you don't really have time to criticize the lovers, and also you are busy with your own life, you're busy in the process of getting it improved. But the second stanza deals with this theme that my love has never caused any harm to anyone, be it the seasons, like he names the spring, be it the diseases, I'm not bringing about any disease, and my sighs, I could have sighed so badly because there were times in my life when, because of being in love, I suffered a lot of pain, and then you sigh in pain. When you sigh, you do feel that the force of gravity is pushing you down, is pulling you down. And that is why, with particular words like drowned, he uses the word sighs. And he says that lovers sigh so deeply that you might feel that if it were a floating ship or a floating sea vessel, it would have simply drowned. But yes, my sighs have been that intense. I have been that low in my love sometimes, but that has not caused the drowning of any ships. So he's chosen these words very carefully, that they convey also the depth of his love and the fact that no harm has been caused. And he doesn't say simply that my heat is not causing any fever or disease. He uses the word plague. So the intensity, whether it's a ship drowning or it's a plague happening, it is to denote that this is how intense his love is. He could have compared it to something very small. He could have said that if I sigh does not mean that I'm spreading disappointment. No, he says I'm not drowning any ships, though my sigh has the power. So this is this two-way thing in the stanza, and very beautifully he puts it down that I'm not causing plagues. And then he says that yes, there are times when we are not doing well, and there are low phases in life, and that time you do not feel the joy you feel inside of you when there is spring in the air. But he's saying that doesn't harm the spring season. It still is very good for other lovers. It's still good for a lot of flowers and butterflies and everyone around. So don't you dare think so. But then he's also saying that if you love intensely, this is how intense a low would be. That it actually has the power to take away the joy of spring from you. If you're really suffering from this pain, then you would feel that why has the moon risen? Why are the flowers so beautiful? Because these flowers are now taunting me and they're reminding me of my love and my lover. Suppose the lover is away, or you've had a fight, or you're going through some bad phase in your life. So the comparisons are very intense. This is to show the intensity of his love, and the negation shows that whatever the power of my love, still I have not caused any harm. And then there are people who are always looking for war, always looking for some kind of fight, whether it's two countries, whether it's two regions, or it's people who are filing cases against each other. But though she and I do love, all we do is love. Let's look at the next stanza. Call us what you will, we are made by such love. Call us what you will, we are made by such love. Call her one, me another fly. We are tapers too, and at our own cost die. And we in us find the eagle and the dove. Very interesting stanza with some very interesting metaphors. The word taper here denotes a candle. A candle burns, and when it burns itself away. So though it's spreading light, it's burning itself away. And when you look at the meaning of the word taper, then you realize that the word fly here denotes the moths that are attracted to the flame. So now he starts the stanza with a phrase that I really don't care what you call me. It's not like it bothers me what you think about me. What bothers me is when you present some sort of hurdle towards my love. So call us what you will. We are made by such love. I don't care what you call me. I don't care what you think about me, because we are made by this beautiful, wonderful relationship called love. And I'm one moth, she's another moth, and we are both attracted to the flame. And that is how we are both one in love. And then he says, it's not just we're just the moths, we are also the candle, which is burning itself away, at our own cost die. So love is an emotion which is very intense, and though we are burning and we are illuminating and we are beautiful, we are also dying slowly, and this candle burns away. No love is for all times to come. No love lasts eternally. I know that there'll be a day when both of us would be no more. So at our own cost, we are dying. Also, I guess this denotes the intensity of true love, that it really takes a lot from you. One, to maintain such a relationship is a lot of hard work. Two, it can give you a lot of pain, it can give you a lot of sorrows. So in that sense, he's saying that we are candles too, and we die at our own cost. And we in us find the eagle and the dove. And he says, I'm saying that the candle illuminates, but at the same time dies away. Similarly, we are also the eagle and the dove. Now, eagle stands for peacelessness, but the dove stands for peace. Eagle stands for a lot of power, dove stands for softness, gentleness. So the notion here is that we in us imbibe both qualities. There is also one very important notion here, that do not categorize us. Do not think we are one, but we are not the other. We are both. We are all. The yin and yang unity is perhaps implied here. And he's saying, within us, you will find both the eagle and the dove. There are times when we can pounce upon each other like the eagle, or we can get as belligerent as the eagle, but at times we'll be as peaceful as the dove, and we would give in to the lover. So there is both between us. There is a lot of intensity, but at the same time, there is a lot of adjustment. Also, there is a lot of sense that multiple factors come together to make the complex relationship that we share. The phoenix riddle hath more wit by us. Now, what is the phoenix riddle? One thing, that the phoenix is called the firebird, that it burns itself away but then rises from its ashes. And this, he says, is true for lovers as well, that they can really have the lows of lows but then again come alive. The next thing it says, that the phoenix riddle also is that both the male and the female are in one bird. And although if you look at the mythology of this bird, yes, there is a male part and there is a female counterpart to that. But because it's a mythological creature, it's this one bird that is imagined, and both the male and the female are one in this mythological entity. So he's saying that the phoenix riddle has more wit because of us. You can actually gain more enjoyment, laugh at it, or gain more amusement from the riddle of the phoenix if it's a male bird or a female bird, because the two of us also are like this, that we are both one. We are not separate. And therefore, the phoenix riddle becomes more amusing when you look at us, that we are one male, one female, and yet we are one entity. This is how we are united in love. This is how love has made us inseparable. And then he explains it further. We two, being one, are it. Both of us are one, and therefore we are it. So to one neutral thing, both sexes fit. And there's this one neutral thing, it's really not possible to say that. And there's one more thing about the phoenix, that only one bird lives at one time in the world. That's the mythology of it. So when that bird dies away, the next bird rises from its ashes. So this is to say that when one bird is living, it's not like only the male is living or only the female, but both, to one neutral thing, both sexes fit. And that is why he says that you can draw more amusement from the phoenix riddle by actually looking at a set of lovers who, though are two, have now become one. We die and rise the same and prove mysterious by this love. And he says, we also die and rise like the phoenix does, and we prove mysterious by this love. There are two connotations here. One could be that love never ceases to be. So one set of lovers come and then they go, but then another set of lovers is always there. So love never ceases to be. People die and rise the same. So a set of lovers is no more, but another set of lovers comes about, and therefore we are proven mysterious by this love. The second thing that this could imply is that lovers, when they are madly in love, and for the phase that they are in love with, there'll always be highs and lows, and there'll be times when you think that possibly there is no more love in the relationship, or possibly you have lost the grasp on the relationship, and then again you realize you fall in love with the same person one more time. And he says this is how mysterious love is, and its ways are rather not understandable very directly by people who do not know the intensity of the emotion, and that is why it's a very mysterious thing. So there are two ways in which the phoenix riddle applies to us. One, that in a neutral being, two sexes are fitting, and two, that we also die and rise the same as the phoenix. It's a trial by fire to be in love. We've been discussing a lot of Ghalib on Pratyancha, and there is a famous couplet where he says that आग का दरिया है और डूब के जाना है, इश्क आसान नहीं गालिब, आग का दरिया है और डूब के जाना है. So that is the notion implied here, that lovers have a very hard journey, a very difficult journey that they traverse, and it's really a trial by fire. They rise from their ashes, and therefore he gives the metaphor of the phoenix here. Let's look at the next stanza. We can die by it if not live by love. We can die by it if not live by love. And if unfit for tombs and heaths, our legend be, it will be fit for us. There is a very strong notion here of immortality, like we've seen in Shakespeare's sonnets, that once you speak about your love in verse, poetry, poem, lines of poem, you make it immortal. So he's saying that even if we die, our love will live on. We can die by it if not live by love. And if unfit for tombs and hearse is the corpse when it's carried in its, like in India they say that arthi uthana, or when you carry the coffin, the vehicle that carries it is called the hearse, and the tombs where the corpses are buried. So he's saying that our love will not be fit for tombs and hearse, but our legend be, it'll be fit for verse. Our legend, our story, it'll be fit for poetry. And if a lot of Indians are watching this, they would know that yes, it's Heer Ranjha and it's Laila Majnu and it's Romeo Juliet, and we like reading about these love stories in verse. They're eternal in some ways. Krishna Radha, these stories remain eternal, and therefore he says that it is verse that will immortalize us. And why does he say that we can die by it if not live by love? I guess this is to reiterate the fact that he's actually addressing someone who's against their love. Maybe this person is so against, or he is a person in authority or power, and this is a lot of times this happens, that it is authority that forbids love. Like we saw in, say, the film Mughal-e-Azam, where Salim and Anarkali are forbidden by authority. The king, Akbar himself, who says that this relationship is not possible. So maybe he's addressing someone like that, and he really says that we can die by it if not live by love. And this is a notion a lot of intense love has, that you can kill us but you cannot kill our love. And therefore he starts this stanza by first speaking about the fact that if you don't let us live, we can die by it, and still our legend will live on. It'll live on in poetry. And verse, like I said, is poem or poetry. But then he goes on to also describe the different kinds of literature that immortalize love. And here he says that it is not really the extent of the piece of literature that is important. So it is not like you have to write a really long piece of work, like a text which is thousands of pages, or something which is a mega poem, or something which is a huge description of what is happening in two people's lives. No, a simple verse, a simple sonnet written to us would be great enough, would be enough to carry the intensity of our love. And see, and the next line actually carries this meaning. And if no piece of chronicle we prove, we'll build in sonnets pretty rooms. So chronicle is a long story. It's historical in nature and it's rather elaborate. So he's saying that it's not necessary that you have to mention us in a chronicle, but you can actually write a sonnet on our love, and that would be a nice pretty room in which our sonnet will be contained. So we don't need palaces, but a simple room of a sonnet would be enough to contain our love. And then he says that the notion here in the next two lines is that when a person is burnt after he is dead, the ashes are contained either in a small urn, like a small pot, or you can decide to build a huge mausoleum. You can build a huge tomb. The ashes are the same. So he says the importance of the ashes doesn't reduce by the fact that the person is buried in this huge, magnificent tomb, or the ashes are contained in a small little vessel. So he carries forth the comparison of the chronicle and the sonnet further by saying, as well, a well-wrought urn becomes the greatest ashes as half-acre tombs. So tombs that are spread in half an acre carry the same ashes which perhaps a small urn would carry. Similarly, when we die away and our legend lives on, it's absolutely fine if it lives on in a sonnet. I don't need a long chronicle. I don't need someone to write these mega pieces of literature for our story to be told. And by these hymns, we all shall approve us canonized for love. And when these hymns are written to us, these sonnets are written to us, these pieces of poetry are written to us, all will agree that my lover and me, we should be canonized, that we should be given the status of saints upon death. Because we loved, and we loved so intensely, so purely, so beautifully, we are no less than saints. And here again, like I told you, that this is a piece where his religious thematic and his thematic of romance, they coincide. The word hymn is very important. Up till now, what he has mentioned in terms of literature is verse, chronicle, sonnets. But now he says hymns. Hymns are usually religious songs, but he says that these would be religious songs written to us, like you have songs addressed to the saints, to the gods, to Christ, or to any other religious entity that people hold in great respect. So these poems would be hymns to us, and they'd be sung for us, and everyone would agree that we need to be canonized because of our love, we have reached the status of saints. So this is what he's saying here, that we are no less than religious figures, we are no less than prophets, because we have attained this particular degree of love by which we are lovers unto each other, and therefore we need to be saints. We need to be canonized as saints. Let's look at the last stanza of the poem. And thus invoke us. Invoke us, there's an invocation. People would agree that all these things should be said about us. And now when he uses the word you, it is people or someone in authority who is canonizing them, who is saying it to the lovers. So the you are the lovers here, and the poem changes its tone of addressal. Up till now in the 4 stanzas, Donne was addressing someone who was not very happy about the lovers being in love. But now in the last stanza, Donne is speaking to him or her and is telling him or her that this is how finally the world shall speak about us, and the world shall speak to us. So now the world is addressing the lovers and saying, you whom reverend love made one another's hermitage. The world is saying, we want to talk to the both of you, and both of you are of the variety that love, the emotion of love, has made you seek refuge in each other. Hermitage, where hermits live, like an ashram or like a sanctuary. Again, the connotations are religious. The connotations are also of finding refuge, of finding shelter, of finding peace with someone that you truly love. So you whom reverend love made one another's hermitage, you are a hermitage upon each other, unto each other. You to whom love was peace, that now is rage. And there was a time when love brought peace to you, but now your story is a rage in the world. So Romeo and Juliet, they found peace with each other. They found a lot of beauty, a lot of love with each other, a tragic ending to the story, but they found a lot of happiness with each other. And that story now to us is a rage. Laila Majnu is a rage. Sassi Punno is a rage. So this is what he's saying, that you to whom love was peace and now is a rage, who did the whole world's soul contract and drove into the glasses of your eyes. When you looked into each other and you had this emotion of love inside of you, you contracted the soul of the whole world, and that was reflected in your eyes. This is how deep the emotion of love is. This is how magnificent it is to be in love, as if you are doing the most beautiful thing that needs to be done in the world, that you are in love with your beloved. And it expresses in your eyes. You can see the soul of the entire world in the lover's eyes. I remember a Shakespearean line here. One of the sessions we had discussed this, and Shakespeare writes in there that journeys end in lovers' meeting. Every wise man's son doth know. Love is such a beautiful thing that all journeys, all aims, everything is achieved when lovers meet each other. In Urdu poetry, Wasl or Milan has been spoken of in multiple ways, and Bhakti poetry also speaks of Milan. And this is the point where the entire soul of the world contracts and it is reflected in the lover's eyes. Such is the beauty of the meeting of the lovers that this particular thing in life has been taken to the level of ultimate emancipation, of becoming one with your Almighty. This is what happens when lovers meet. So the soul of the world is reflected in their eyes, and their eyes are made such mirrors that everyone, when they look into these mirrors, they feel that this is the kind of love they want in their own life. So you become the epitome of love, the greatest example that love has been. So as readers or as audience, when we say watch Romeo Juliet, when we read love stories, a lot of us are inspired that this is the sort of love we want in our lives, and the creator of the story or of the film has actually epitomized for us the relationship that he writes about in the verse or that he shows on screen. So here the poet is saying that so made such mirrors, your eyes are made such mirrors and such spies that they did all to you epitomize. You were epitomized for the whole world, for each and every one. And the word spies is interesting to use here. Sometimes I feel that some words, some lines can have multiple meanings. So maybe I'm discussing one or two. If you disagree with me, do write in the comment box. Here I feel that the notion here is that the one who loves has eyes that are certainly deep, but also eyes that can spy upon other people, that can really know the truth of other people because they are much above other people, and therefore they can read what normal people or people who are not in love cannot read, and these eyes become spies that they can really know if someone is in love or not in love. And one in love does feel that the depth that I have come to, the other person has not known, and had he known this depth or had she known this depth, they wouldn't have been talking to me in this manner, or they wouldn't have this idea about love. So lovers' eyes spy upon other people. They think that they know more, or they really know more about the world than people who have not been in love, they know. So in that sense, this is a stanza which I feel is very close to Bhakti poetry, to Sufi poetry. Once we were discussing this Buller Shah piece, and Buller Shah says, Jina ishq khareed na kita, ive aaye begutte. People who have not done the transaction of love in their lives, they just come to this life to waste it away. Bigutte, who have absolutely no aim and they're just doing nothing about their existence. Jina ishq khareed na kita, ine aaye bigutte. Ishke banjo jaat na pucho, kya adam kya kutte. Jo ishq se banj hote hain, ones who have not known what love is, they are not human. They're just not human. You can just treat them like any other animal in the world, any other existent in the world. They merely exist. So this is what he's saying here, that the whole world's soul contracts, it comes into the lover's eyes, and this is the moment that eternity lives for, when lovers meet. And therefore, these lovers become the greatest example for everyone. And your eyes epitomize you to all in the world. They look up to you that yes, there'll be a day when we will also fall in love like this. So this is the sort of relationship that I want. And then look at the last two lines, how strong they are. Countries, towns, courts, beg from above a pattern of your love. You're canonized. Why? Because you're dead. If you're dead, you're buried. If you're buried, people are looking at you from above. And who are these people who are looking at you? Countries. Every country in the world he names in this one word. Look at the expanse that he uses here. Towns. All the towns, all the small towns, all places, all regions in the world, and courts. All that rules over anyone and everyone. It could be, like I said, a king or a democratic ruler or a communist country or whatever, but courts. people who sit on judgment upon other people, people who have authority over other people, each and every person in all countries, towns, and courts, they shall look down upon you and say that this is the pattern in which love should be conducted. And they would beg, they would really wish, they would really want that this is the sort of love that we should feel, and therefore our love is worthy of being canonized, is worthy of being called a saint, is worthy of sainthood, because we do worship saints, we do wish our lives were as blessed as theirs, and therefore we would become saints in love. This is the end to this 5-stanza poem, and John Donne very clearly states that people who love are the ones who really need to be worshipped, who really need to be given sainthood, who really are following the only religion known to mankind, and that is love. So this was John Donne's The Canonization. If you really like this video, do not forget to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel for more videos, and don't forget to hit the bell icon, and then you'll be reminded of every new upload that we have on offer. Also, there are multiple other playlists on the channel. If you want to know more about metaphysical poets, do go to this playlist on the channel, Metaphysical Poetry. You'd like to traverse through that, I'm sure. And if there is something that you wish to speak to me about, do write to me in the comment box or at my email address that you'll see on screen right after this. So thank you very much. John Donne's The Canonization.